Alright folks, I'm back once again. Told you I'm going to give you two this month because I'm feeling generous. Yep. Now we're going to do the single version of the dumpster dinner, updated. There's a couple slight differences in this one. I like, when I start tying smaller single bait fish, I like them to kind of slim down a little bit more. So in this particular fly, we're actually not going to tie a spreader cone in there. We're going to let this one kind of flow on its own. So, same style hook. What you have seen here is I have put a little bit of weight on this. Just going to help with casting it. If you're really concerned about it riding and not keeping it keeled, you could put lead wire here. But there's enough weight on this hook that it typically goes fine. And I'm going to be honest with you, sometimes I like a bait fish that tips side to side, especially on the paws. So, that being said, let's get started. Same thing, I'm going to use a Vivis 140 on this one. This is, I believe, is size 1/0, but you could do 1, 2, or 4, whatever you want. The biggest thing with craft fur is if to change your length, you don't want to just cut it. You can tear it, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. So, same thing, just going to start, lay a thread base down, my olive thread, go back up and over all that, lead wire, come right back to a point where that bend starts. First things first, and we're going to tie this in the same color as the articulated one. I'm going to take a generous clump of white craft fur. Like I said, I really like this Filling Mill salty craft fur. I think it's the best out there right now. Gonna cut that, comb out all that under fiber, as you see here. And then we're going to measure it. There. If I have quite a bit extra, then I'm going to take those scissors. And I want to make sure I cut the butt ends on this shorter, because I don't want them to bleed all the way to the front. So same thing as I did on the articulated one. 1, 2 loose turns, pull down on it, and then we're just going to spiral wrap our way up that hook, as you'll see here. Don't worry about these errant fibers, we'll get them after. And then we're going to come back a little tighter thread wraps, go right over all that again, just as you see here, like we did in the articulated version. We're going to post this, so 1, 2, come up and around, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to give us a foul-proof tail. If your fibers on here are too long, this is how I taper it and shorten it. I just break some of those off. Get into that again in a second. Same thing like we did last time. We're going to use that Spectrum Glimmer Chenille for the underbody. If you want to make a muted pattern that doesn't has minimal amounts of flash, I would use that MFC Senyo Satin Chenille. That's great stuff. So with this guy, I'm going to spiral wrap it. I'm looking to make a smaller profiled fly. I don't want a really, really bulky little streamer, because in order to kind of taper these down, once you go from something larger to smaller, you have to minimize the material. Just going to taper that back right to there. Now we're going to do the same thing we did on the articulated one. We're going to use 2 types of craft fur. So I got a speckled one here and a white for the belly. Cut out what I think I need. Just want to make sure that that kind of bleeds in about the halfway point of the tail. We are going to reverse tie this like we did on the double. One, two, three. Looks like a good amount. I'm going to go in and get some white now. Same thing, you don't need a lot. I always want my belly to be shorter than the back. see here, you want it a little sparser too, if you can. One, two, three. Take a look at it. If you feel like you want a little bit more on the top, this is the time to add it. So I may go in here, just cut out a little bit more. When you start dealing with these barred versions of this craft fur, there's not a lot of the barred stuff in relation to what you get with the standard colored, solid colored craft fur in regards to longer fibers. So sometimes you'll find you might want to cut a little bit more than you think you need. Most of the olive on this is kind of towards the back, as you'll see. Yep. But I will warn you, don't want too much on there, because if you put too much, it's going to drastically affect your head. Alright, once you've done that, then we're just going to push this back. You see here with your pushing tool. Just like that. Work your thread through that bundle. Start wrapping it. You see here. We want to taper this down like we did before. The difference between this one, the single, as opposed to the double, is we're not going to use that salty type brush. We're actually going to go right back and use that craft fur brush for this. Very, very sparingly. This just variegates the color up near the front, as you'll see here. And I'm just going to take a couple turns of that. But you'll see that big thread bump at the front there from the reverse tie craft fur is going to make this fly swim a little bit, as you'll see here. Got that in place. Oop. Watch yourself here. Sometimes when that ramp is a little big like this one is, it makes it problematic, but that's okay. We can make it work. One turn. Two. And then what I try to do is you can take that wire and rest it right up against that little notch by the hook eye. 3. 3. Red is dead. Cut these off. Holding your thread, you can just kind of brush this out a little bit. This just adds a little bit more. Craft fur is not going to really add bulk to your fly, which is nice. Now, we're going to use the 5mm tab eye on this. They're a little bit smaller. Just got to find them here. Here we go. Same thing. Tie one in on the near side, closest to the camera. That tab facing forward, 3 turns. One closest to me. Stick it right to the side of that fly. That's what's nice about the adhesive backer. Fold that tab over. Tie over itself, just like you see here. There we go. I'm going to whip finish. Take some bone dry, go right over those thread wraps. Here. And then this one, because I got some spare or errant fibers kicking around, I'm going to take a cautery tool, burn those out. I'll clear my eye out. You can also careful not to break it. If you crowd your eye a little bit, you can poke that through there like so. Now same thing, you could leave this just as it is, but I will warn you those tab eyes, because they are paper backed, will tear, so I like to put resin on them. Just like we did on the double. So I put some thin on there, go right over to thread wraps, for both eyes. Just like you see here. Hit it with your torch. Get it in a spot, lock it in. To reduce any kind of tack, I'll put one. That's actually pretty good, I won't need it. Make sure you don't crowd your eye out. Same thing, I'll come in here with my cautery tool, burn out any errant fibers that I might have. And then, like I did on the last one, if you really want, which gives it kind of a little bit of a nice effect, you can kind of color in that tail a little bit if you're so inclined. It's not necessary. I do kind of like the way it looks. Sharpies allow you to do some pretty cool stuff. Crafter takes color really well too. So, there's the single. And in relation, you can kind of see what it looks like to the double. So there's the double above it. You can kind of see the added length. And that's it. Hope you enjoy it. It's a good one. I fish these things all the time. I can't tell you how many different species of fish I caught on them. If you're going to use them in the salt water, I recommend beefing up your hook. Maybe go to like Eric's 280, 270 blue water hook. You could use an owner, whatever you like. But this is a real good one. It's pretty easy to tie. Even a novice tyer can tie it, and you won't feel so bad if you lose any. They're just great fish catchers. I fish these things every single year. The other thing you can look at too, I'll show you this one last variation of it. If you want something that's going to be a little thinner, you, instead of adding that brush at the end, you can basically just take that fly and build a head out of thread with the tab eyes, and now you've got a thinner variation of it. And that's it. I'll catch you guys soon. Have a good Thanksgiving.